Marwan Bishara is Al Jazeera's senior political analyst, and you're joining us from Doha. Marwan, I was hoping you could talk to us a little bit about the American position, because Hamas is saying we're committed to the ceasefire. We heard what they are saying publicly. Israel, we don't yet know what they're going to decide to do. In the middle of this, somewhere in the middle, is the U.S., Donald Trump specifically. And he has said Israel can do what it wants. Specifically, Benjamin Netanyahu can do what he wants. What do you make of that?
Yes, I think this is the American position since Trump took office, although he did try to prove that he's the more superior leader among the two, meaning just to show Netanyahu that he calls the shot, albeit in support of Netanyahu at this point in time. Now, there are two things happening at the same time, Cyril. On the one hand, the Israelis are meeting and talking about what's next. There's a security cabinet meeting today in Israel. While at the same time, Netanyahu's special envoy, Bremer, is meeting with Trump's special envoy, Witkoff. And I think this dynamic has been the driver behind everything we see and everything that unravels the past number of days or weeks. In a sense that whatever Israel is doing is coming as a result of coordination and consultation with the Trump administration. And I think Netanyahu wants to have his back covered, and he doesn't want at any point in the future for Trump to lash back at him. On the contrary, he wants Trump's support, because if he gets Trump's support, he doesn't need anyone else's support. Basically, not because it's Trump, it's because he is the president of the United States. But what does that really mean, essentially, effectively? Look, we don't know if what Trump is saying is part of a psychological warfare against the Palestinians and the Arab leaders that have just met in Riyadh and are going to be meeting in Cairo and coming up with a counter proposal to his, or he's actually effectively saying Netanyahu needs to go back in, as he calls it, and he supports him. Meaning, we don't know if Trump actually supports the continuation of war because of presumably the dramatic images that he's seen, or he is engaging in psychological warfare because he's putting maximum pressure on the Arabs to do that. Quickly, I will say the following. From the Middle East, we're having the emergence of a new Trump doctrine. And that Trump doctrine is diplomatic coercion and economic blackmail. It's the same doctrine that's being applied in Latin America. It's the same doctrine that's applied with Ukraine, and so on and so forth.
But Marwan, there's one thing in that case, one thing I would put to you, which is that on Gaza specifically, Donald Trump has seemed to somewhat walk back his position, because his original position that shocked many and that he doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on was, here's the plan, remove the Palestinians from Gaza. It doesn't matter if it's ethnic cleansing. The U.S. will then own Gaza, and the Arab countries will take the Palestinians that were removed. That was his plan. And now he says, actually, it's just a recommendation.
See, remember, we talked about it at the time. It was never serious. It never went through the process, if you will, the decision-making process. Neither in the campaign before January 20th, nor in the National Security Council after January 20th. It didn't go through the motion. His advisors were shocked. His Secretary of State was shocked. His special envoy to the Middle East was shocked. And they have been ever since trying to walk it back, or to walk it down, I should say, because he climbed the tree. It's a thought. It wasn't a plan. What was the plan? There was no plan. There was an idea. We should take over Gaza and clear it out of the Palestinians. And he said, a lot of people support that. I'm yet to hear a single leader, a sane leader, that supports that, including in the United States. So this was not serious. But if this was, in fact, madness, was there method to the madness? Was there something behind it, whether it's planned or instinctive on the part of the American president? I think yes. And I think that's where the danger lies. Once again, it's part of his psychological warfare. It's part of his provocation. He put the maximum bid forward. I'm going to ethnically cleanse Gaza. I'm going to take it over. The Arabs said no. They said, okay, you say no. Why? Okay. Is that why? Fine. What do you have to propose as an alternative? Since then, The Arab leaders have been meeting, coordinating, and they just met in Riyadh yesterday. They're going to be meeting in Cairo on March 4th. And to respond to that madness that came out of the White House while Trump was meeting Netanyahu. So, in fact, while it is mad, it has generated a certain energy, if you will, or in the Middle East, whereby Arab leaders are trying to scratch their head to come up with an alternative. And I tell you, the alternative is going to be different from what they agreed to in the 1st of February or what they agreed to in their November summit in 23. And I think they're going to come up with something more to the liking this time of Netanyahu and Trump than before. And in that sense, you could say that his tactic, his strategy has worked.
Marwan Bishara, Al Jazeera senior political analyst. Thank you very much.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.